Apex bill acceptor by Pyramid. Today we're going to be talking about cleaning these bill acceptors, how to properly do that. This is a follow-up to a video that we made several years ago because some changes have been made on these bill acceptors and some cleaning techniques that would help a lot with issues that I've seen since then. We're going to cover in this video as well. So this video is going to apply to several types of Pyramid bill acceptors. We're going to be teaching today on the Apex 7000 series. So that's any model number that begins with 7. So Apex 7400, 7401, 7402, 74 or 7600, 7601s, anything that begins with a 7. But this cleaning procedure will also apply and be applicable to the older 5000 series, which kind of look like this. They're like a white or a really light gray housing. Model numbers beginning with a 5. And then the Spectra, if any of you have these, they don't make these anymore, but there are some out there. Very similar to the Apex, except they just have the high visibility or the lighted bezel, and they're predominantly blue. The housings are blue. So this will apply to any of these products, but we're going to be teaching on this one. So let's get started. So real quick, we're going to demonstrate why cleaning of these units is so important, why doing it regularly is so important, and to use an example, we're going to use this particular bill acceptor that just came into our shop recently under warranty. So the customer sent it back, said it wasn't working. They didn't say exactly in their note what wasn't working, just that it's not working, and it's under warranty. We can see on the serial number, manufactured the first week of 2023. These have a 2-year warranty, so this is just about a year old. And so let's turn this on and let's see what's wrong with it. And what we're going to find is, I think the issues with this bill acceptor are very common as far as what we see here every day with units that come in under warranty or units at all from Pyramid that come in here. And we're going to demonstrate why cleaning is so important. So let's turn this one on and see what's going on. All right, so anyone who's familiar with the Apex, you know that that startup sound is good, normal, and is what we should hear. We have blue lights flashing. We know the unit is enabled, ready to take money. Let's give it some money and see what happens. Wonder what happened there. Let's try giving it another bill. That doesn't sound good, does it? Yeah, let's turn it up. Alright, I'm going to kill power, just so we don't destroy the bills any more than we have to. Now let's look at what's happened here. Alright? So I'm going to take the bill box off. Alright, we got a crumpled 20. And we have a 5 that's folded over. It's in the box, but it's folded. So let's look at what's happened. All right, immediately right off, I can see several things. First of all, this unit is pretty dirty. We're going to get up close here in a minute, but it's very dirty. There's pieces of gunk falling out of it as I take this out. You'll be able to see. I mean, it's just dirty. There's dust all along the bill path, on the corners where the OAS sensors are. There's just visible dirt in this housing. The reason why we are seeing this particular problem with the bills being crumpled, right, is actually due to these roller balls on this bill box. And we'll get up close in a second, but hopefully you can see right now the balls should be sticking out a little bit through these openings and push up against your belt right here. And it creates friction between the two, and that's what allows the bill to be transported. When the belt is pushing it up against that ball, it keeps the bill moving by, the belt's being driven, the ball's just rolling, but both are pushing together, and that's what keeps the bill moving vertically and from slipping in the bill path. And this ball is, I can't feel it at all right here. Pretty much the same with this one. All right. Now we're going to get up close, and the reason why is because we have dust bunnies. This is just filthy. This is filthy, this bill acceptor. And there's dust bunnies that have gotten in here between the ball and the the interior of the plastic around it, and it can't come all the way forward anymore because there's so much junk that has, over time, as stuff's pushed on the front of this, has wedged its way in around this ball. And so now we have bill jamming, and there's literally nothing wrong with this bill acceptor. It's just filthy. And that's all that has caused this problem. All right, so let's get up close and look at this. So here's the box. We're gonna inspect this entire bill acceptor, but if you notice, see, if we look down the bill path there, there's no ball sticking out. You know, it's a little bit better over here, but we have no balls. That sounded wrong. But we don't have any roller balls anymore. And on this bill box, which is as it should be, we have a roller ball here. You can clearly see it if we look down. It's spring loaded. You know, you can roll it, pops, it stays pushed out. Same thing over here, right? See that massive dust bunny right there? Same thing over here. I mean, you've got just filth in here. We're gonna pop this out and blow out around these balls with compressed air. There's nothing else. You really want to be. I'm being extremely gentle when I'm doing this because you don't want to damage this rim here, all right, around this ball or this cavity here this ball rolls in, because it should be completely smooth. If it's not, then it's going to wear grooves in this ball and you're going to damage it. So if you use any hardware in here, be very, very, very careful. I'm doing this for demonstration. This isn't how I normally clean these. Normally you're going to blow these out. I'm going to grab air now, and we're going to see how well these clean out by blowing air. Some people want to use canned air. I don't like canned air for a few reasons. One of the reasons is it's not as nearly as pressurized as this stuff, and the phase change when canned air comes out of the can is so significant because it's under pressure that a lot of times it'll cause freezing or like ice, or you'll literally have liquid during the phase change from pressure to atmospheric pressure as it comes out of the can. And it's just not conducive to getting rid of dust. And so I don't like using canned air. I highly recommend using an air compressor. If you have a laundromat, a vending machine, or a vending route, car wash, an air compressor, like a pancake air compressor, you can get those at Lowe's, Home Depot. Used to, you could get them for $79, $99. I don't know what you can get them. I mean, they're definitely, things are going up these days. I don't know what they cost, but relatively speaking, they're very cheap. And you can get a good air compressor with good pressure, and that's what I would recommend. 150 psi air compressor. So we're going to blow out these balls. Okay. So one of them, the ball blew out. And this one, the ball's not coming back forward, which tells me that we have another problem. And that is that our spring So anyway, the spring, it has it had a crack in it. The piece fell off just now when I stopped the camera for a second. And so what's happened is Pyramid has actually made a change in these. If you notice, there's like a notched area here. There's 3 little notches, and it's slightly smaller than the stud that this gets pressed onto. And when these would get pressed on, there's a clamp also that goes back here to help hold them on. But it was cracking this plastic over time through heavy use and through once these balls get pushed back in there and that far as the result of dust bunnies, right? And these are sitting here with pressure on them. It just starts to crack these over time. And you can see this one's reasonably cracked. So this actually is going to be a warranty repair because these are broken, and they shouldn't be. Pyramid has changed this. This is now a larger hole. It's just drilled out. So these literally just sit onto the stud, and then there's and then the clamp that goes on back here. We have to take this frame off and pound the clamp on. And these shouldn't crack anymore like that. But if these weren't damaged as a result of use and sitting like this for long periods of time, then blowing these roller balls out like we were doing will result in your springs coming back, pushing the ball forward like that, and there you've got a ball again. All right. So if you try this process, if you clean out your balls like this, and I would recommend blowing out the entire box. So get your air, blow this whole thing out. This is a 1,000 box. You might have a smaller box. Blow the whole thing out. All right. If your balls don't come back forward like that, if they're like that, or if your spring has fallen out of there completely, like in the case of this one, and your ball is gone, you're going to need to buy a new bill box. If the unit's still under warranty, you're welcome to send the entire bill acceptor back to us. We need the whole thing. We can't just take a box if we're doing warranty repair. You can send the whole thing back, and we'll replace it for free under warranty, whatever parts are needed. But if you have an old bill acceptor, I mean, after lots of years, these will break. I mean, we, as a part of servicing these Apex bill acceptors, we replace these almost on all bill acceptors, no matter what. Even if they're not really cracked, we replace them when we're servicing a bill acceptor as part of preventative maintenance. The recent change they made, hopefully that takes care of it, but you will need a new box because these balls have to be present and working. If you're missing a ball, like even if your spring is back there, but you're missing a ball, if you take your box off, you're missing a ball, or the balls are like this and they're not pushing out anymore, then you need a new box, or you need to get your box fixed, because that will cause the jamming issue we just saw. So let's look at the other parts of the bill acceptor that need to be cleaned. All right, so we're going to push on the tab on the bottom of this bill acceptor to remove the lower housing. All right, this is your lower housing here. It's got a power board in here. This is the power supply in this little box, and then this is the main control board in this housing. So on this housing, I'm going to show you where all the sensors are. You have one here, 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 and here. They're the clear lenses. Then you have the anti-stringing OAS, optical anti-stringing lenses. And they're on each side of the bill path. You have one here. Let me zoom in. Right there. And one right there, the blue one. And they look at each other, and they're watching for string behind bills to reject the bill if someone's trying to string the bill by pulling it back out by taping string to it. Which a process many of you are aware of, I'm sure. The old style bill path, which I'm going to show you here, they didn't used to have a sensor on both sides. They had a reflective lens, which looks like this on one side. It's not actually a sensor, it's just a lens. There's a sensor lower down that reflects off that lens. And then you have your blue one on the other side. So this is the old style. You'll see it on older 5000s and the Spectras. Process is similar, but they do look slightly different. So if yours looks different, don't panic. It's supposed to be that way. So, as you can see, this is the bill acceptor that came in under warranty. It's quite dirty. That sensor is filthy. They're grooved. Pyramid, and going forward, these sensors might look different yet again. I know Pyramid's changing one of these. I think it's going to be like clear. I've seen it, but I've only looked at it superficially. It might look different. So if these look different as these get newer, as the Apex iterations move forward, and they have new, they have updates and changes, these may look different. This is going to apply for everything forward as well. As far as I know, I don't know why anything would change as far as cleaning procedure. But when these are blocked, when these sensors are blocked, then it's going to not either see the sensor across from it. It's not going to see the bill if you're talking about one of these, or it's going to have values because of being blocked that may cause problems. It may cause the bill acceptor to go into error. and it may not even acceptable at all. There's all kinds of issues that can arise. These things have to be kept clean. So how do we do that? First and foremost, compressed air. It's your best friend in the bill acceptor world, and you need an air compressor. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to blow out this sensor and along this side of the bill path, that sensor and along this side of the bill path. You also want to blow out your wheels because you can get dust bunnies behind those. Let's see if I can focus in on that. And there's some major dust bunny. Look at that. Look at that gunk. So we're going to blow that out. You can also see with these roller balls here the same problem we saw in the bill boxes. So you want to clean these, and then we'll move on to the other parts of the bill acceptor that need cleaned. So first I'm going to blow everything out here. Zoom out a bit so it's not so blurry. You can push on the ball a little bit and blow. Turn the air compressor off. It's not conducive to good video making. All right, there we go. So now it's blown off. Hang up my air hose. Two products we use when cleaning bill acceptors. First of all, do not use alcohol. I don't care who tells you to use alcohol. If you call American Changer or whoever and they tell you to use alcohol, don't do it. Alcohol, I mean, if you ever think about it, like cleaning alcohol, which is most of the time, I mean, you're going to be using rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. It's not like wine or even the stuff you're going to drink. It's usually much more concentrated than that, and it's 70, 80, 90% alcohol. If you put that stuff on your hand, what happens? Well, your hand dries out. Big time. If you rub you take that alcohol and you rub your hands in it, even if you wash them off, like just that quick exposure to alcohol dries your hands out. I mean, try it if you've never done it before. It will dry your hands out. And so it has the same effect on whatever it touches. All right. So plastic, I hear people say all the time they clean their belts with alcohol. I mean, that's just horrible. These things will disintegrate big time, really fast if you're using alcohol to clean them. Do not use alcohol. Do not use any alcohol-based product to clean. You do not need to sanitize your bill acceptor. That's what alcohol is for. Yes, it does do a good job breaking up gunk, but there are other products that can be used for that. I'll show you the one we use. Even just soap and water, a mild detergent will do that just fine. Alcohol is horrible. Don't use any product with it. I would recommend not using any cleaning product at all, no matter what it is. Unless you're an expert and are 100% sure that it is so mild it's not going to dry anything out or cause any damage to plastic or rubber, don't use it. Use soap and water, all right? Just a little bit of soap, some warm water, and dry anything off that you clean. Here's what we use for getting individual spots or gunk. It's a product made by Melaleuca. It's called Solumel. This is like a multi-level marketing company that sells this stuff. We don't sell it or anything. You can get this stuff on eBay, even though most of the time you have to have a membership with this company. Just so happens, just from trying different things over the years, I've discovered this stuff works really, really well for cleaning grime. And it is fairly mild. There's like essential oil in it, I think. So it's not something you want to cover plastic in because it can't. That can be not good for plastic over time as well. But we don't use this to clean plastic. We use it for spot application only with a Q-tip. So this is what I would use for what we're going to be doing to showing how to clean grime and gunk or sensors. Oops, wrong thing. For general cleaning or for general maintenance of plastic, if you don't want to use soap and water, or if you want to use something in addition to soap and water as a conditioner of plastic or even rubber, this stuff won't hurt rubber. But I wouldn't use it on rubber because I think there's a little bit of an ingredient in here that is not great for rubber. But they have a, this is a specially formulated product. Novus #1, you can get it easily on eBay. It's all over the place. It's used in the amusement industry, and it's designed specifically for plastic. And it will shine the plastic, clean the plastic, and it will help it be dust resistant, dirt resistant. So this is absolutely a product that I would buy if you're wanting something beyond soap and water to use on plastic. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is still working on our lower housing. I'm going to use the Sawymel product that I showed earlier. We're going to dip a Q-tip in it. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put just a little bit on this sensor. The reason we do that is because you get gunk and dirt particles and stuff like that that won't just come off with blowing air on these sometimes. Now you don't want very much liquid on this at all, because that sensor is attached to a circuit board down there, and you don't want liquid just pouring down onto your circuit board. That's going to damage it or potentially be a problem. So gentle application. You stay in the camera. Gentle application like that. All right, and then I'm just going to hit each of these individual sensors here, and I'm going to immediately come and dry them off. These sensors really, they're sealed. There's not much, unless there's physically grime built up on them, which you can see if there is. There's not on these. These are generally okay. All right, you don't generally need to mess with those. The two OAS lenses on the sides, these are the ones you really need to hit. I'm going to take a toothbrush now that my Sawymel has sat on them for a minute, and I'm going to kind of work in there along the whole edge of this build path and get anything, any solids, any grime, oops, on my camera, build up out of there. All right, now once I do that, I'm going to hit it again with air. Okay. Now, just to make it all look nice and to get anything else on the plastic build path here, and to hopefully give it a little bit of protection against dirt buildup, I'm going to spray a little bit of my Novus cleaner on my rag. I'm going to wipe down the build path. I'm going to roll the wheels on it, try and get any loose particles off of them. You can go sideways across the wheels like this if there is grime on them, and clean that off of there. All right, then I'm going to blow it off again. You're always going to have small particle buildup from cleaning like that, especially if you're not using a microfiber rag. I would highly recommend microfiber rags when doing this. Anything else, you're going to leave lint, other dirt particles behind. So there we go. Let's see if we can zoom in and get a look at these. And that's pretty clean. I'm trying to get the camera to... But compared to what it was, I mean, this is clean. This is what your bill acceptor should look like on a regular basis, not what we started with. All right, let's move on to the next part. All right, so let's say that your stacker plate, most of the time it's going to be in this home position where it's all the way in here. We're actually going to move it out of the way a little bit so that we can clean a very important sensor behind it. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to take a Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to come in either on this side back here or on this side over here. And we're going to be very gentle. There's actually the harness for your stacker motors is here. So you don't want to go, see, I'm going to go all the way down and hit the housing. See, I'm tapping it. You don't need to go that far. If you do, then you run the risk of catching that harness and damaging something. I would go in on this side because there's nothing over here you can catch on, and you're going to feel your the metal cam attached to the stacker motor here, and we're just going to push on it like that. All right, and that lifted the stacker plate up a little bit. See that? So now we're going to grab it and we're going to pull it all the way out. Now, we can remove the stacker plate from this punch, which I'll show you how to do that real fast, but you don't have to remove the stacker plate to do this next step, all right? So to remove the stacker plate, there is a tab right there that you're going to have to lift and get over this punch. This is called the punch. This is the plate. This is the punch. And so we're going to lift the, let's see if I can normally do it. I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna put all my fingers on this side of the plate. I'm gonna put my thumb on the punch over here to push against it, because you don't want to just grab it and pull down on the whole thing. And this punch is actually really worn out. There shouldn't be this much play in it. We're probably gonna replace this for them too. This has been fairly heavily used bill acceptor, but this tab, thumb on the punch over here. Grab the plate. Pull it over the edge, and then you can just slide the stacker plate right off. Now, as you can see, it's pretty dirty in here. Look at that. This has never been cleaned since it was bought, I'm sure. Since it was purchased new. I'm going to grab a light real fast so we can see this sensor. All right, let's see if we can get a good view of the sensor that we're going to clean down here. Sorry. There we go. See those two eyes right there? That's your stacker plate home sensor. Since it faces up, it's pretty easy to understand why it's so easy, or why that could get covered and blocked pretty easily and pretty regularly. All right, we also have a tack sensor right here. This isn't a problem as much, but it's something we will clean because it can affect the drive motor. There's a tack wheel right here, and it spins. And each little groove in this tack wheel is counted by the tack sensor, which is these two pieces here, as it spins past it. And if you get this sensor completely clogged with dust, then that can cause problems. The biggest sensor problem that we see is definitely the stacker plate home sensor, which is right there, and which is what we're going to clean next. Let me grab my air compressor hose. So again, you don't have to remove the stacker plate to do this. You can just kind of stick your air hose right here on the motor and spray down into there. But it's perfectly acceptable to remove the stacker plate, just be careful. And we're going to spray onto that sensor, and as you can see, it is pretty dirty. So we're going to spray in there. Wow. Well, that's definitely a difference. If there was any question, it was dirty before. Look at that. How much cleaner that is. You can actually tell one sensor's white and one's black now. All right, that sensor, critically important. Now we're going to take our Solumel product, which again, don't have to use Solumel, but if you do this regularly or have a lot of bill acceptors, it would be something great to grab. You can get it on eBay. I don't know, there's like 8 and 16 ounce bottles. It's not cheap, but it's like $10, $12 for an 8 ounce, maybe 20 to 30 for a 16 ounce. Lasts you forever. I mean, we go through these pretty slowly, and we repair dozens of these things a week. So this sensor here is your cash box sensor. That senses for the presence of the cash box on the bill acceptor. Very important, this is cleaned. There can be grime buildup on that sometimes. I like to hit it with my Q-tip. Always dry off anything you wet. That's an important rule in cleaning bill acceptors. Also going to hit it with the air. All right, now it's pretty clean. If you really want to get thorough with cleaning these bill acceptors, all right, there's one last thing that you can do. You don't have to do it. This may be the every once a year, every 6 months cleaning step. But I would take your bezel off. Now, your bezel is going to come in it might not look like this. If you have a 7400, you're going to have 3 screws, one there, 2 there. You just need to get your plastic part off. With 7402, 7401, the metal plate behind it can stay on. In this case, it's 7401. So we're just going to take that off. And what this does is it allows you to hit a little bit more with your compressed air. You can hit your sensor board and everything up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to the air compressor and blow it out so I don't get my tester completely, in my work area, completely filthy here with all this dust. And then we'll come back and look at it. But I'm gonna be blowing everything out in here. I'm gonna blow the inside of my bezel off, get all the dust out of it. I'm gonna be blowing this motor off, everything that I can touch with the air is just gonna get blown off and cleaned. And then we'll come back. All right, we're back. I can breathe again after the tremendous cloud of dust that came off of this thing. One thing you want to be careful of, don't ever set your bill acceptor down on its face when the bezel's off, because the sensor board sticks out far enough, you're going to end up setting it right on that sensor board. And, you know, this isn't steel, this is all plastic, so that if you put pressure on it or accidentally bumped it, I mean, you could damage something. So don't set it on its face. Put your bezel back on first. So I'm going to do that real fast. Oh, just as you can see, it's all blown out. It's nice and clean. Well, one thing I am going to do real fast. If you see on your belts, all right, let's say you have a thread coming off like that. These belts are not in horrible shape. Belts are not warranted by Pyramid, generally speaking. If like they come apart, if a thread comes out like that and it causes the belt to disintegrate, and it's not long after it was manufactured, then we'll replace them under warranty. The belts are not warranted. Pyramid, I guess, figures that if you wear your belts down, you got your money's worth out of this bill acceptor. But belts will last way longer if you clean this unit regularly, because just think of it, all the sand, all the dust, all the filth rubbing on this belt constantly is going to wear it down way faster than if it's clean and only having to touch dollar bills. So premature belt failure, premature belt wear is caused very much by filth not being cleaned out of these bill acceptors. So you've got to clean your bill acceptors regularly. If you see thread like this coming off, you can just take scissors and, I mean, obviously be very, very careful you don't snip your belt. But you can cut off thread that's starting to come out. I mean, there's thread in these. It's what gives them their strength and stiffness. But if you see a piece of thread, you can just snip it off, and that way it doesn't catch on something and start coming off even more, and you might get longer life out of your belts. So that's always a preventative thing that you can do when you're at this stage working on it. Got the lower housing back in. I'm going to put the bezel back on the front. Start your screws counterclockwise, always, 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 metal or plastic alike. Make sure you catch the set of threads that is there. Don't make a new one and strip it. Oh, sorry, blocking the camera. Okay. We're going to put our stacker plate back on. And to put the stacker plate back on, you've got to get the corners of the plate on this side, so the right hand side if we're looking at it from the back, started into the 2 hooks on the left hand side of the stacker plate. Alright, so we got them started. Then you're just going to slide it on. It should snap back into place. Be sure your tab comes over the edge there. And then if the if the cam is pointed straight like that, if you push on this, if it's pointing straight out towards you, it might not go back in. You're probably going to have to come in here and turn it a little bit with your finger like that, and then you can push the plate and punch all the way in. But as you can see, we've sprayed it out. It's much, much cleaner. It looks much, much nicer. And just push it all the way back in. All right. Bill box would go back on, except we have other work to do on this bill acceptor for this particular customer. So I'm just going to put a good bill box on it for now so that we can test it. stand it up. Let's get it plugged into the tester here. All right, we've got blue lights. Thing seems to be enabled, working. And it likes bills again. One last thing that I will address before the end of the video. It's got SS5 firmware, I think, which anytime you pull the lower housing out with the anti-stringing firmware, it'll just sit there and run. But this upper housing, in case anybody was wondering, yeah, there are sensors on it. There's a mag wheel there. The mag wheel is actually really important if you have a 7600. You'll want to clean that as well as you can with a 7600. You can do that much easier by taking the bezel off, maybe the metal bracket as well. Not so many 7600 customers, or at least we don't have any, or as many. But if you have a 7600, it's important to get this mag roller wheel clean. So I would take off the metal and the front, the bezel and the metal, blow it out good, and then look at. I mean, it's a pain to take all this completely apart. So short of doing that, you could clean it with a Q-tip and Solumel if there are like green globs built up on it from currency. Those need to come off. Your mag head, which is on the lower housing, and it sits right here. If there is one, it's a square piece of metal. You can see there's like the marking here where they knock it out of the housing on the 7600s. You want to clean that. Same thing. You just blow out around it. Clean it with a Q-tip. Generally speaking, this upper housing does not need clean. You could look at it with a light and see if you have streaks of grime or anything like that on it. That's really the only time you'd ever need to clean it specifically. Okay, is if there's like a green goo from currency, you know what I'm talking about, covering one of those sensors. So I would inspect it, and it's easier to inspect it with the bezel off. But you shouldn't really ever have to do anything with that. Blowing out the top parts where those sensors are, that's all you need. Those sensors that are there they're in lenses. They're not really going to get. There's no way for them, unless something's covering them. Like they're not going to get filled with dirt like this one would, which is exposed, or this one would over here, which is exposed. So that's all you need to worry about on the upper housing. So that's pretty much it. Clean these things regularly. You'll get way more life out of them. And even if you haven't, you've neglected it for 2 years, try this before you send the unit in to us or to anybody. Get it clean good. Might fix all your problems. You never know. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. And one other thing I would like to mention, on the OAS lens, the clear one on the older series, the 5000s and the Spectres, if you have that clear lens on the one side, the reflective window, just be really careful when you're cleaning that not to scratch it, okay? So be really gentle with it. You don't want to scratch it. Don't use, toothbrush is probably okay, but be gentle. Don't use picks or hard tools or anything like that, because if you scratch the lens, that can cause lots of problems. As always, at the end of all of this, if you clean the device, still doesn't work, if you have belts that are completely shredded, stacker plate problems, if the unit has those problems on the bill boxes where the springs have fallen off and they're things that you don't feel capable or you don't want to fix yourself or try to, you're welcome to send the unit in to us. We will fix it for you, completely remanufacture it, make it as good as new. So that's always an option. Instructions for sending units in for repair can be found at venderstech.com. I'm Alden Savoca with Vendors Tech. Hope you all have a great day, and thanks for watching.